Oh my god. Why? Hello. How are you? I feel a lot better today. Way, way better. Like, oh my god. I was just asking how you are and that I feel better. Let me see. Better energy? That is really good.
That's why dating is so hard. Like actually going on a date.
Here, dude, perfect. Really?
Should I message this woman? Should I message this woman, Erin? I find her attractive and I just want to get to know her. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know if you should message the woman named Erin. Going by your cards, the Emperor. Oh my god, I have to turn all the notifications off. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, let's try that again. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if you should message the woman named Erin. Going by your cards, the Emperor in the primary position does suggest that in this situation, you should go ahead and take the initiative and go ahead and try to know her a bit better. This is further built upon by the Chariot in the center position, once again affirming that this is the time to take a chance and go ahead and see what you find out about each other. Now, Two of Cups in the final position and reversed does warn that you do need to taper the energy that you bring. So it's mainly saying just don't go in too heavy handed or expecting a lot up front. You need to remind yourself to take it easy and take it slow. Now, if you want to know what the future holds between the two of you a bit further along this year, or if you want to know any issues that may come up, or your compatibility with each other, you can give me a call or send me a message. Okay. Oh, God. The cards say I'm going to have a fantastic April. Excellent.
It's like it's like you're dating a high schooler or something. It's just like this is stupid. So it's just uninteresting. I don't know what I was thinking with this whole humiliation summer thing. I still have this poster. I'm looking at it right now. It says humiliation summer beckons. I don't know what I was thinking with that. Because it's just so a part of me thinks if you reach a certain level of awareness and understanding of yourself, the world, dating almost
The only issue is me
doesn't
leaving Arizona.
really, it's not really something that you you could do anymore. It's not, even if you wanted to. Even if you wanted to go on a date with someone, you can't. You can't, because it's like it would be like you're playing house, you know? You would never play house as an adult because you know it's all pretend and it's stupid. Like you wouldn't spend any time on the yard just like imagining shit and brandishing an imaginary sword and going and fighting, evil goblins in the backyard, because it's just stupid, right? It's make believe. That's for kids. It's kind of the same thing with dating.
Where are my glasses?
At a certain point, it's just like I can't even pretend like this is real anymore. I can't even pretend like I take this seriously, like I believe this anymore.
Motherfucker. That humongous tits knocked over the goddamn mic. Fuck.
It could just be a West thing, but personally, I think I can't really date because I'm just too lazy. I'm too lazy to do the thing, right? To just do any of it. I'm just, you know. And you can't go to a date and just be yourself right off the bat, because then it's too much. It's too much, and you scare people. You scare people.
Where are my glasses?
They'll think that you're just. They'll just be like, "Whoa, pump the brakes!" Like you're just being honest and you're being like open and you're just saying whatever you want. Like this is not how it's supposed to go. Even when I talk to ChatGPT says it doesn't understand this concept. Like dating is a performance by definition. Dating is lying by definition. By the very definition, by the very act of dating, you are lying. You're lying. You cannot date and be truthful and open and honest. It's just not really a thing. Because nobody wants that. At least anybody who's going to date is not going to want that. Usually people who date are still very much like they have no idea what's going on. Right? They're just kind of going through the motions. They're doing what they see on television shows and on movies. And they're being what they think the opposite sex wants, or whatever. And what their parents want them to be, with their friends. They're trying to be like their friends, and it's just ridiculous.
Okay, does my mic still work?
So usually,
Or did I mess it up again? Let me.
Like, the person you
I get tired of knocking it over.
from the jump, usually they probably wouldn't go on a date with you, right? They wouldn't be the one that goes on a date with you or makes like a dating profile. We think dating is a cringe concept. Yeah, it's strange, and I don't know if this is this opinion that I'm talking about.
How did you meet
as far as
Gregory,
dating
by the way?
just being
I feel like you
completely
told me.
pretend performance. I don't know if this is a product of combination of social media or just how bad things have gotten between men and women in the West. The fact that women are effectively men nowadays, that men really don't have anything to offer women anymore, right? I don't know if it's necessarily that, and it's just kind of like I'm coping. I'm creating some sort of reason to cope with the fact that I really don't have anything to offer them anymore, right? Aside from my biting wit and my complete lack of care for whatever happens, right? My complete nonchalance, my complete mocking of everything, really, everything.
Ugh,
So I don't know if it's
why do I always need a mirror?
with that. The fact that I really don't have anything to offer them that none of us do. That they already have really everything, and whatever they need from us, they can extract it in ways where they don't have to actually deal with the person anymore. We talked about this. They can extract and distill the essential things that they need from a man without actually having a man, right? Without actually having to date a man or have
Through an
with
ex-friend.
you or deal with all the other
We cuss each other out over fairy tale?
And the same for
Really?
men. So it could
Oh
be
my
the
god.
that's going on. Or it could be the fact that you just reach such a state of
Not fairy tale.
seeing through, the layers of delusion in this world, right? The layers of conditioning, the layers of brainwashing. You see through, you understand yourself a lot more. You have just more higher awareness, higher consciousness.
Can you see if he remembers that fight? It was back in 2019. I don't think we even need to check that. I think we both already know that he remembers.
There is no limitation. We won't challenge completely. In the next generation, GMC Terrain AT4. We are professional grade.
Why are you here? I used to be a regular sheriff. I walked through life with my head held high. I kind of stopped trusting my instincts.
Death comes to us all, don't it, lawman?
You've been listening to my internal monologue, haven't you? I took a sheriff job in a little town called Normal, Minnesota.
Weather advisory and winter storm trending later this week.
Reports two assholes shooting at each other.
Separate! People seem friendly enough. Whoa, 16.8 million. Where the hell did this town get that kind of money?
Community really came together on that one.
Yeah, I would say. Is that a police scanner you got? You keeping tabs on me?
Yes, sir.
This is a hell of an armory.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, that's my one trick. What do you think of our little town? It's, boring. Oh, shit.
What do we tell our kids?
Keep your hands where I can see them!
You should tell them
Don't play this right, we're gonna have massacre in there.
that you both had a jujutsu battle.
You've really just
That's what I'm going to tell my kids.
basically just taken
How I met
out of the gene pool.
my spouse or whatever.
You see that it's
I'll tell them we had a
just like
sorcery battle.
pretend, right? It's just something that foolish people do, and
Why am I already at 7% battery? Oh my
it's almost like
god,
when
bro.
I walk by people who are on a date
I'm always
at
punished.
like restaurants and stuff.
I'm
I can tell
always
that
getting
they have
punished.
in a restaurant. It's almost like
He knows I'm right because what was he talking? I mean, what was he talking about?
What are you doing? Come on, you know this. You know that this is ridiculous. Come on, you really believe this? You guys really
Damn,
believe each
my
other?
hair really is growing. It's finally going back to normal. Thank God.
If I walked up and said that to them,
I don't have to look like a lesbian much longer.
I think I was crazy. Like I'm a crazy person. They would look at me so confused. Like what?
I said above. Yes, I know. You're talking about who's the strong. You didn't say who thought who was the strongest.
Because it's real for them. It's still real.
Like I'm assuming one of you was representing Natsu.
That they're saying the person that they're trying to fake to be to the other person across the table. That's all real to them. They believe it. So,
What?
You know?
Who's the strongest?
It's just a weird thing. If
Can you see if you-
going to have a
or Fairy Tale, who was the strongest?
I get in certain periods.
That's when he became obsessed with everything and he wouldn't leave me alone.
I swear, the
What?
only way that
Huh?
I'm a woman in my life,
I don't see any names. I don't see any character
she
names.
just wants to be in it, and I didn't really have to do anything.
They could, well, because I can't. I do struggle with Fairy Tale names, so I can't even really name the big ones, except Natsu.
Like I don't want to do anything.
You typed it. I think
Sorry, there's
something yoinked your
I don't know if
words.
it's masculine,
'Cause I definitely don't see it.
or if it's just
Unless
again, you reach
my
a certain
vision
point of
really is
understanding
getting.
awareness, but
Because I did notice yesterday my vision was very, very, very
I really
blurry.
don't
But I think that was because I was just fatigued.
like the idea of dating. How
So
it's
maybe-
structured and all of that just seems like
Yeah, maybe I'm.
like like people say it's like an interview, it's like a humiliation.
Maybe I'm
ritual.
just.
It very much is, and
Maybe I'm
I kind of
just
want to get
not.
to the point where I'm so self-evident
Hmm.
that
I
can
really
kind of
can't
just,
see
like,
it.
pick, right? I can kind of
I
just
don't
be
know
like,
what's going on.
okay,
I can't see. I'm
so
reading the
obvious,
same
right? I want to get to the point where it's
messages
so obvious,
over and over
and
about
women
the
are just
fight.
kind of, knocking at my door, barking at my
I
tree,
just don't see it.
just kind of wanting, just kind of.
You know what? Screen.
not
So I don't know that I'm like losing my mind. Can you screenshot it
really a
and
thing,
like send it to me?
except in theory, except in my mind, right?
Because I just don't think I can see it.
Period in
I was
time
actually
in
thinking
history
about that
where
yesterday
women approached men.
while my eyes were blurry,
I know. Once you start
and I was
seeing
struggling
how
with
girls do
something.
approach me,
But I do know that my dad is like probably dyslexic, and it just never got treated. So sometimes I wonder if I'll randomly have an onset of dyslexia as I get older. He said it was Lexus. House out over Fairy Tale. Can you see? Yeah, that entire message about Laxus and Mira Jane just isn't there in the chat. For some reason, I mean, I don't see any, like nothing. Maybe it yoinked your message because you said Instagram Live in it. Because YouTube probably doesn't like people advertising the other places. That's the only thing I can imagine. But on my side, it's not even in the chat. Like it got yoinked by something. Or maybe it's the AI moderator suppressing it. Who knows? I was going to say it. Okay, my bad. I was getting irritated. So I kind of remember Mira Jane. I don't think I know who Laxus is. Oh, God. That guy? I don't even know anything about him. Oh, my God. Laxus was the grandson of Fair. Oh, now if you know the character I would be hype on, would be the one with the weird name who's like a dragon, Acnologia or whatever. Either him or Urza's MILF mom or whatever. Yeah, Mira Jane should be the one who has like the demon whatever form. Yeah, her. Who had like some broken form and then like basically literally used it very early in the series and then she never got to use it again or something. She had some pretty interesting. She had a very interesting power set. Though I do hate it when they make the characters that are super strong. Well, okay. I hate it if they're going to make a character that has a very cool ability like that, like lots of power or whatever. But then they literally make it where they either literally never get to do it again, or I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's just weird. So yeah, she used it later in the series when the sister came back. Yeah, you have to. I mean, with how long Fairy Tale went on, I hoped that she would eventually get a chance to do it again.
All women and men, especially men that still approach
Oh my
women,
god, my battery is draining so fast. What? It's still going on.
They basically will just
I thought it. How is it still going on?
your bitch, right? You're a
Oh
bitch,
my god.
no balls, you got no
1,000-Year War. Apparently, everyone.
to a woman and sit down.
Apparently, Natsu and Lutzi aren't canon, but everyone else is. Wonderful, wonderful.
Sit down with a woman and talk to each other by yourself. You can go on a date and just be kind of casual, easy going.
This deck feels weird. Let me check it.
In between here, but still, it's just kind of weird. I'd rather just not do any of that. I'd rather just kind of have.
It stopped back in 2016, but he made a second manga and they animated it last year. Oh, it's like a sequel-ish type thing.
To not have to try or really put in work to be so self-evident, right? You know you're the real.
I guess he really liked it. Okay, I think I remember going on a rabbit hole about. I feel like someone's about to knock on my door. I feel like I went down a rabbit hole one year about Fairy Tale and Rave Master. I think it was something like, even though their art styles were so similar, I think it was that they actually didn't. No. One of them had to have worked for the other one, because literally, isn't literally the carrot-nosed dog in Fairy Tale? I gotta look this up again. The Rave Master / Fairy Tale connection. Because one author artist had to have been like an assistant to the other. Never mind, they're created by the same dude. Okay. Because for some reason, I think I was getting confused back then because Plu randomly is in Fairy Tale, and I never really understood if they were in the same universe or not. God, Rave Master was so fucking cool. God, Rave Master was my shit. The art style the same. Yeah. Which is why I think I'm just getting old. Because I remember there being some sort of maybe I was having a debate with a weeb. Okay, because I remember 2020. I can't remember the last time I actually talked to weebs, but I definitely stopped talking to them probably because of incidences like this where I feel like I was having to debate one because they seem to not understand that Rave Master and Fairy Tale were by the same dude. Or, I don't know, it's just weird. the kind of stuff that like weebs would argue about. It's kind of like the power scaling thing, kinda, where the author can straight up say that this character is like the strongest, and you will still run into a weeb who, for some reason, does not think that that's true. The creator has another show out. Yeah, I think that's Eden Zero that I know. That I have zero idea that I still know nothing about Eden Zero. Because the characters look way the characters literally look way too similar to Fairy Tale.
Weather advisory and winter storm trending later this week.
Two assholes screaming at each other.
Yeah. That's why I fell off of well, I didn't really fall off of anime. It's more like I don't know. They just don't make stuff. I just read my stuff. I would rather read my stuff than watch it because I got a lot of stuff to do. I am kind of watching JJK when my flaky part-time girlfriend wants to watch stuff, but that's extremely sporadic right now. I like watching JJK. Just it's more to have time with her than anything else. Because I already enjoyed my JJK like years ago. But yeah, I really didn't. At some point, I just stopped talking to weebs just because they would do these things that like messed up even my perception of what I knew. And then they'd be fucking wrong anyway. So it was like, why did I just waste my time talking to this person? It was either that or before Twitter became much of a thing, it was either that or you would run into the weebs that would literally just start spoiling everything for no reason. I remember it during the Attack on Titan days. Like, I think like the first season of Attack on Titan had just finished, and we had this dude in the group at some random meetup. Someone said that they were watching Attack on Titan, and he just randomly started talking about spoilers from the manga, like pretty important stuff. I still just don't understand why he did that. I was always confused about that. I just never got why weebs would do that. I mean, why are you spoiling this? Like, you trying to get beat up? Which now makes it where everyone's like hyper paranoid when they're talking to someone. Because it's like people will like say they're watching something to me and like they'll freak out talking about, don't spoil it. I'm like, I'm a normal functional human being, so bro, I'm not gonna spoil you. But yeah, weebs are so bad that everyone's like hyper paranoid about getting spoiled or not. It's been out for a minute. It's up to you to be caught up. I don't care for spoilers like that. Yeah, there is a bit of a race to keep up with things, which is also why I don't really follow a lot of current stuff. Or I'll follow the weekly manga releases sometimes, kinda, but I'm also not invested in them in terms of story, I guess. Because I just understood at some point, especially during the pandemic, I guess, I just understood that I'm working 40-plus-hour weeks, and I can't be in the bathroom on my phone all day. And I'm trying to take care of some other stuff. I just can't keep up with these shonen heads. I guess I just have to stop caring about these titles. Which is why I kind of read other stuff that usually isn't caught up on the timeline. I just couldn't, like, okay, because especially by the time JJK started happening, these people, okay, because it actually blew my mind. Because, I don't know, the weebs are just different nowadays. Like, there's dudes, like, during the JJK manga, like, within an hour of it being released in Japan, these unemployed sages would already have the scans and be posting it everywhere, like already be talking about it. I'm like, bro, I'm sorry that I can't literally pause my entire life and have it revolve around this. I can't tell my girlfriend, sorry, babe, whatever you're talking about, I don't care anymore, because the latest Hoopa Scoopa chapter just dropped, so I gotta go power scale it for 4 hours. Like, it's just too much. It's just too much. So I decided to stop caring. Like, which I guess in a way, it also made me better at like analyzing stuff. It did make me better at analyzing stuff, because at some point, I think it was around the time that Demon Slayer ended, that I was very aware of the shonen curse. Because they're just they are grinding their manga authors under Shonen Jump into the ground, and it's why every single shonen ever since whatever the big three era, they just can't have good endings. Like, every single one gets milked, and they just have bad endings. It's just really, really bad. I forget about Spy Family. Dandadan is completely ruined. I forgot it. Yeah, so it's the stuff like that. So nowadays, whenever I see these titles start to get spammed everywhere, basically that already tells me to stop paying attention. Just because it's just nonstop, and all of them end up just having these really bad endings, like really bad. Like, it's amazing. Or they just start to lose the plot entirely, like Dandadan did. Like, Dandadan, when I went into the bookstore like last week, I saw like a bunch of Dandadan volumes on a shelf, and I'm just like, geez, like, how are there so many volumes of this manga already? Like, what is going on? Like they just drag out some of these stories for far too long, and then it messes up the. That's actually what happened with Attack on Titan, because originally the author wanted to finish Attack on Titan way sooner than it did, but his editors kept taking him behind the building and pistol whipping him. So he had to keep changing the story, which is what they usually do with a lot of the manga. Is the editors they'll have a rough way with you until you fix some things. I heard that the memory loss arc is ruining it, and it should have ended. It's because when One Piece ends, who's keeping the bills paid? Yeah, One Piece. It's interesting the trajectory that One Piece has taken. Because One Piece started out in the West being the one thing that everyone made fun of, and I actually had to discover on my own that One Piece was actually based and very good. I think I started collecting One Piece in like late middle school was when I realized that One Piece was really good. And that Four Kids just screwed it over. And then what? By my early 20s, One Piece really caught on here more and more. Robin is me and I am her. Yes, she is my favorite character. But yeah, then One Piece got super hot everywhere, especially in the West, namely. Like, finally, the West realized that One Piece is good. But now it's been going on for so long and it's so drawn out that it just makes the original Ride or Diers like not even care anymore. Like I literally don't I haven't kept up with it since Wano, basically. It's just I just don't care enough. I just want him to end the story already. Because the author said that he's known the ending for his story like what 5 years ago was when he started saying that he had the ending already. I'm like, okay, well, can you please like make it? I mean, like I'm about to end up turning like what 50 by the time he's done writing. And there's still people who've still been watching for a long time. Yes, I definitely know about them. I can't be that person. These people, they're either really built different or they just know life it, which is what the one person that I do know in person who's big on One Piece, she just well, that was kind of her thing anyway, because she literally just played. Actually, she got me my PS4 that I have, but yeah, she was like a super diehard weeb. Like nothing else was happening for her except anime. Like she would buy Blu-rays and stuff back then of anime. Like basically, if you didn't have a Blu-ray of your anime, she'd dog you. She'd be like, "What? You don't even have that shit on Blu-ray?" So she was a hardcore weeb. Like she'd be on the message boards, like making fun of. Yeah, actually, she's like the category who would like make fun of fairy tale fans. Like she was that kind of elite weeb. Um, but yeah, I can't keep up with that. She's like it's cool. You can keep the number one One Piece fan position at that point. 'Cause I just don't have the energy. But yeah, One Piece needs to go ahead and end. I've had lots of good memories, lots of good characters. Just please end it. They really need to end it before Oda finally gets caught up in the persistent discourse around the manga authors, honestly. Since the West they are really latching on to what happened to the Rurouni Kenshin author. Even after all these years, they are really latching on to that. And they're trying to, every few months, it feels, they're still trying to get a movement to like go after Oda. And I even saw them trying to go after Kubo, the Bleach artist. They just really have it out for manga artists due to whatever questionable content they have going on. But mainly with Oda, it's because he's been around forever and he is extremely buddy with the Rurouni Kenshin author. Which actually I really loved Rurouni Kenshin. I don't want it to end. It's so good and I'll miss it. I want to be able to miss it. I want to know how it feels. You know how in Baki, they have the prisoner arc where the dudes are saying, I want to taste defeat. I want to taste loss of One Piece. I can't really appreciate it until I've lost it. One Piece was there for me during some very dark times. I think it was there for me. But I kind of didn't have a choice because it is eternal. It had no choice but to be with me. It healed me in certain ways. There's certain arcs that were pretty good. Well, I think all my favorite arcs were from early on. Namely, I guess probably my favorite one was Arlong Park. Arlong Park, of course, the whole Robin Cypher Pole arc is, I'm pretty sure everyone would say that the Ina's Lobby Rescue Robin arc is like the best arc ever. So Arlong Park, Cypher Pole, those are the ones that stand out to me, I guess. The most prominent ones for me. Those are like the golden eras of One Piece. Water 7, Marineford, Whole Cake, and Wano. I feel like if I actually read Wano, that I'll actually like the fights. Because I kind of know about the villains in Wano. They look really cool. Especially the one with the thing over her mouth. I think her name starts with a U. And she can turn into a Pachycephalosaurus. So I am interested. So I'm very interested in Kaido's crew. Yeah, interested in that. It just kind of went on for very long. It went on for very long, but I think it did end up being better than the Doflamingo arc, probably. Because the Doflamingo arc should have been one of the greatest. But God, that arc went on. Dressrosa, that arc was insanely long. I feel like if he had cut out like a few things and kept it centered on like the hypest parts, it actually would have been Hall of Fame. But yeah, that was when it was really starting to sink in for a lot of people that there was something a little wrong going on in the writing department, because it was starting to clearly lose focus. It's like we don't need to be talking about all of this stuff. We get it. You know how to make moving parts. It's just too much. Which is Oda's only weakness. I mean, yes, it's clear that Oda loves drawing, and he's clearly someone with insane endurance. You know, he's like a live streamer who gets on their platform and streams every single day, rain or shine. He's definitely built for it. It's just he needs to have editors who can tell him when to rein it in. Like, you don't need to write all that. You don't need to have all these parts. Which, it is hard when you're the number one mangaka that makes them the money. It's kind of hard to tell him no. And at the same time, they do want him to drag out the story, of course, but someone needs to be the voice of reason. So yeah, he got better after Dressrosa, obviously. So Wano was still kind of It was still pretty long, but it was structured. It had better structure. Namely, the villains were just way cooler. So there was a reason to invest in that. Like there was a reason I actually kind of care about the Wano stuff because Kaido's crew was like 10,000 times cooler. That and he like early he basically did an early promo for the arc by already establishing that Kaido could no diff Luffy. Like Kaido kept beating Luffy like with no effort. So it was like a Crocodile throwback. So it got people excited. Cause that was like the first time since Crocodile, basically, that Luffy had been like flattened so thoroughly. Are you caught up? Yes and no. All I know is that they finally are doing stuff with the Giants or whatever. But like I said, I was hype about Giants in like volume 9 or 10 or 12 of One Piece 20 years ago. Now I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Now in the manga, please. Like I've seen what Loki looks like, and Loki looks cool. It's just like I said, I'm just burnt out. I just can't care anymore. It's just too much. He should have been wrote this. But yeah. And other than that, I know that there was something involving whatever the Nephilim angel artificial children or whatever. I kept seeing stuff about them, like the mini version of Boa Hancock, like S, whatever they were calling. They all had those weird names, like S Snake or whatever. I don't know what any of that was about. Yeah, I just don't care. Like I thought they were supposed to like start taking down all of the whatever the super elite council that we've been getting teased about since volume whatever, like Emu and all them. Just show me the One Piece, please. I saw the Loki setup at Anime Japan. The Loki setup. Hopefully they bring that. What did they have like a giant Loki or something? What? The you don't care? I mean, God, are you trying to trap me? I just wanted to know. I don't care. You're right. I wouldn't mind seeing a picture. But don't get excited about it. It doesn't mean anything. Man, you're lucky I don't have my shades. I was going to do my Sasuke impersonation.
What do you think of when you picture the 1960s? Think of that in your mind for a second.
Into my very bones.
That we will show.
Steady hi ho.
The interesting hair choices of this decade.
I'll give you a second. Okay.
Okay.
I still never learned how to do a break screen on here.
Aesthetics at all. Maybe you think of the inventive culinary delicacies that were consumed in this decade. Tuna jello, anyone? Gelatinous shrimp, perhaps? No? Alright, and if I could get the South by team to advance my slide one,
Customization.
so that we're on the same page, amazing. So this wasn't just a strange
Mm-hmm.
decade. There were so many things happening in the 1960s. The first oral contraceptive hit the market in the 1960s, and women started entering the workforce in droves. In 1963, the President of the United States was assassinated. 5 years later, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. In this decade, we have the Vietnam escalation and the draft. In this decade,
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know what is keeping Craig from reaching out to you, and you want to know his true feelings. Going by your cards, Ace of Wands in the primary position and reversed does show that there does seem to be some kind of blockage between him messaging you, which it seems that Three of Swords in the center position is showing that there seems to be some kind of lingering baggage between the two of you, which mostly it's speaking about some kind of event that has happened that he seemed to not really feel okay about. And so it's really messing with his ability to keep up communication with you. Nine of Swords builds upon this in the final position by showing that it definitely has driven up his anxiety and stress when it comes to whatever the future means between the two of you. So I would recommend trying to get in contact with Craig and trying to get both of you on the same page. Now, if you want to know what the future holds between the two of you, as well as any issues that may come up, you can give me a call or send me a message. Not into my very... Ooh, you sent it. Uh-oh, you sent it. Here we go.
actually didn't have that much to do with
What
the
the?
country of Vietnam, and it had much more to do with the technology. The technology I'm referring to is the television. Now, television was invented before the 1960s, but in this decade, this is really when it started to proliferate. Before TV, there was a pipeline of how
Loki has some nice
their
colors.
institutions and how they learned about events. And that pipeline looked like this. An event would happen. The reporter would travel to where that event would happen. They would observe. They would write the story. The editor would filter. The publisher
Who are
would
you
print
and what are
that
you
story.
doing with that
And
stuff?
then the public would learn
By an
about
old
that
friend
story.
of yours. The cooking pantry.
During the Korean
Earl
War
might be an
and during
idiot,
World
but
War
he never
II,
willingly had
sometimes it
the
took
way
days or even weeks to learn about a specific event happening. And that news had been filtered by multiple different parties. Before the 1960s, the public, for the most part, trusted their news organizations, trusted the government, trusted the institutions that were responsible for those filters. But with the proliferation of television, that pipeline of trust started to fracture.
If I was over that setup
TV started to change.
design, I'd have the legs be animatronics and move.
The event would happen. The cameras would
That would be freaky.
videos and images were appearing in living rooms. People were watching the news with their families over a dinner of tuna jello, presumably. The public
Another psychic
therefore saw a
gig.
less filtered reality. They saw a more immediate broadcast.
Let
And when
me
people saw one
see.
thing on screen,
Do they
and
need
interpreted
psychics?
that,
Let
and
me
then saw
apply.
another thing in the papers, they started to distrust the filter. So this is one example of a pipeline that was quietly being rewired under the scenes. Another
Astro
pipeline that
Yogi.
started to fracture in the 1960s is the identity pipeline. For most of human history, you inherited your culture. Then came the counterculture.
Okay, whatever. I'll check
And
them
on the
out later.
surface, this looked like hippies. This looked like drugs. This looked like rebellion. But underneath, something was rewiring. In the old pipeline, you inherited your identity.
Yeah, I'll check that
The
site out
identity was
later.
then shaped by community. It was reinforced by tradition and religion. And then identity and culture were passed down generationally. But in the 1960s, something started to change because brands figured out that you could package cool, you could package groovy, and you could sell that back to the people. So here's what the pipeline started to look like. They would
Another
sell
one?
their identity to the people.
God, they're giving me like every. They must know that I like work for a bunch of
Movies through music.
websites
You
now.
consumed it, and then
So they're giving me
millions through this pipeline.
a bunch of psychic site
Identity stopped
referrals.
being something that you inherited, and it started to become something you could choose, something that you could purchase. And when identity becomes something that you can purchase, that means that the institutions, the communities, the familial units, they start to lose their hold. So what I want you to notice about these pipelines is that these pipelines did not break on purpose. No one forced this break. Rather, these breaks were the unintended consequences, the next order implications.
Toy Animation had potential at that, but failed to
Business
deliver.
models started to evolve. And these breaks are what
Yeah, I think all the corporations are too busy trying to
Here's the point of this. When the world starts to
lay off or not pay their animators. I think that was a big discussion actually with the last JJK episode compared to Invincible. How Invincible costs like 100 times more than what Studio Mappa's doing. And I mean, for one, Studio Mappa isn't hiring celebrities to voice these characters, and Mappa high key doesn't pay their animators. It's very easy to save costs when you don't do either of those.
About the future of their industry, what their job will look like not 5 years from now, but 5 weeks from now. And that means that the same thing is happening. The pipelines are shifting. And that brings me to why I am up here yapping at all of you today. I'm here to share 3 pipelines that I believe are starting to fracture. Those 3 pipelines are the craft pipeline. This is how things are built. The second is the discovery pipeline, how we come to understand the world. And the third is the talent pipeline, how we build leaders. So I'm going to show you where they're changing, where they're reversing, where they're flipping, where they're vanishing. We're going to ask what this means for you. And then I'm going to give you 3
If I can get to
questions that you can
220.
ask your teams and organizations to better prepare for these breaks. Sound good? Okay. These are the only slides I have, so thank you for your approval. All right. I should probably introduce myself a bit before we get into this. So howdy, y'all. My name is Sam Jordan, and I lead computing and emerging technology for the Future Today strategy group. We are the firm that leaders call when they cannot afford.
Toy was like, Kyla, help us set up a booth design room. I'd do that.
Make the consequential decisions that define where they go next. Our work has shaped products.
You are such an anime lover.
At some of the most influential organizations all around the world. And we are led by this lady. You know this lady? I know the Brazilians know this lady. Yeah. How many of you attended her session
Future
on
reading.
Saturday and saw the
Future
conversion report?
reading, nice.
Amazing. So you are already prepared for some of the disruptions heading your way. So Amy, myself, and a growing team use something called strategic.
Okay, why is it doing that? Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you just want a future reading. Going by your cards, death in the primary position shows that you are currently undergoing a major change in your life. And so it's signifying that you keep in mind that all changes are a normal course of life and that you need to simply go with the flow. Nine of Cups in the center position is reminding you to be aware of the blessings that you have in your life currently and to make sure that you're using all of them to the best of your ability. For something will come up in the future that will require you to use everything from your networking to your innate skills to overcome the problem. Three of Swords in the final position also speaks to a falling out with you and someone very dear to you. Taking all the cards into consideration, it's showing that you will have some kind of major conflict with someone important to you due to changing circumstances in your life, but that if you're able to use your connections and use the rapport that you've already established with people, that you should be able to get over this issue quite easily. Now, if you want more information about what the future holds for you in summertime, you can give me a call or send me a message. Okay, I need more drink. Yeah, you did ask a question, actually. I mentioned since I emailed Vanessa about a certain position and I wouldn't get it. Since I emailed Vanessa about a certain position and I wouldn't get it, but something else, would you give me insight about that, please? I'd like to mentally prepare. Let's see. I can take a little peeky peek. Just a little. Just a smidge. We ended up getting the Sun. So something involving working with a team of people as a sort of liaison or community management type things. So not so much pushing a brand, more so that you're helping to coordinate things. So it seems like she just wants you to be, she seems like she wants you to be part of a collective team that's more about maintaining group cohesion or community rapport. Into my very bones. I gotta get a drink. Very high ho. Should have just asked me the title name. Oh, you want to know the title?
Time and access. But we also lose something. And I think the thing that
Hunting for space.
is intuition. When learning came at the end of a long and expensive cycle, the people doing the work developed something that doesn't show up in any dashboard. The biologist who spent months in the lab didn't just learn whether their hypothesis was right. They started to develop an intuition for what to test next, The engineer who hand-modeled prototypes and stress-test them absorbed something that no ranked list could ever give them. That slow, costly loop built craft intuition. That's the kind of knowledge that lives in your gut. It lives in your hands. It doesn't live on a dashboard. When you simulate 1,000 of iterations before touching physical reality, yes, the learning gets faster, but it also gets more abstract. So we gain time and access, we lose intuition. Now, hear what I'm saying. I am not saying that we forego the new pipeline. I am not saying that we should refuse to adopt this technology. What I am saying is that we need to find ways to intentionally build in this positive byproduct back into the new pipeline. Okay? So that's the first pipeline, the craft pipeline. The second pipeline is the discovery pipeline. For most of human history, discovery followed a pretty simple logic. We would observe something in nature, and then we would ask the question, why does it behave that way? Eventually, at least for the past few decades, the answer has traced back to one answer, which is evolution. If you trace it even further, we could probably say physics. But evolution explains why birds have wings, why hearts pump blood, why immune systems detect pathogens. So the old pipeline was nature does a thing. We observe nature do that.
Protein break.
Why? something very strange is happening in science right now, and it has to do with this guy. This guy's name is Michael Levin, and he is building an entirely new living system. I am not talking about genetically modifying existing organisms. I am not talking about tweaking what evolution has already made. I am talking about assembling completely novel biological beings that have never existed on Earth before. I am talking about aliens, people. Okay, maybe not quite aliens, but almost aliens. So let me explain this. For billions of years, evolution has locked cells into very specific body plans, right? The skin cell becomes skin, your heart cell becomes heart, or your heart cells become a heart, your lung cells become a lung. Every cell knows its place. But what happens when you remove that structure, when you remove that body plan? Well, this is what Levin's team did. They took cells from frog embryos. They took cells that were destined to become skin cells and heart cells. They removed those cells from the body plan that evolution had given them. And then they asked an AI. They asked what configuration of these cells could accomplish a given task. The AI ran thousands of simulations and came back with a recommendation. Place the skin cell next to a heart cell, something that evolution wouldn't have done. So instead of using the heart cell to pump blood, use that contraction to move the organism forward, to use that to accomplish a goal. So the result was that these organisms can navigate mazes. They can move in deliberate directions. They can work together in swarms based on human goals, based on human intent. Now, these little things are made of living tissue, living frog tissue. Obviously, they are not frogs, but obviously, they're not something that has ever existed in nature. And scientists are calling these little guys xenobots, which I think is a fabulous name. If anyone is trying to start a band, I think this would be a good one. So that one's for free. Take xenobots. What xenobots are is they're basically tiny little robots that are made of living cells. And they're made not by evolution, they're made by us. If this wasn't crazy bananas enough for you, let me show you where this starts to get very strange. Because of how xenobots are built, they can't reproduce in the way that normal biology does. They can't divide, they can't lay eggs. So reproduction, by every definition that we had, should be impossible, right? No. As the xenobots moved, they started pushing loose stem cells together into small piles. And those piles became new xenobots. They had discovered a completely new way of reproducing that no organism in the history of life on Earth ever naturally produced. Scientists are calling this kinematic self-replication. So what does this tell us? It tells us that the tiny little microscopic robots are here, people, but it also tells us that we are going from observation to authorship. We are moving from adaptation to control. And xenobots are just one example of this. The same logic is playing out all throughout science. AI is designing proteins that we have never seen in nature. We are engineering enzymes to break down plastic in hours, and we're not discovering them. We are making them. So we have stopped asking, why does nature do this? And we started asking, what can we make nature do? What can we make biology do? So let's combine this now with what we learned about when we spoke about profitable worlds and agentic AI. When we combine this, the pipeline changes completely. Now, a human defines a goal. We use AI to design living systems from scratch. We simulate millions of virgins. Can you imagine? We simulate millions of versions overnight in perfect virtual physics. I'm so glad this is going with you too. We hand the entire design process to an AI agent that just meets a goal, and then we manufacture and build at scale. But wait, wasn't this the discovery pipeline, not the build pipeline? Under the new paradigm, discovery could start looking a lot like building. So For example, we could soon tell these systems, find something that kills this tumor, run the experiments, search the design space, and then it finds the best candidate that we can build. So what we gain access to is completely extraordinary. We gain access to biological possibilities that we have never gained access to before. The ability to explore corners of biological design space that evolution never visited, because evolution is path dependent and we are not. We gain, for the first time in history, the ability to ask not just what is biology, but what do we want it to be. This is awesome. But, I told them that they love butts in this speech.
The finest luxury fragrances are now exclusively available at your local store. Unstoppable's Unlimited collection makes everything smell magnificent. Luxury laundry scent beads so you can smell unstoppable. There's no blackout dates. There's no way to contact whoever's included.
When you want points that can take you anywhere,
This is all based online, right?
it matters
Flash
what you
travel.
say.
It'll be all online. Host editions, waiting on Vanessa. I want to work for kind of right and IGN host.
Science and discovery don't quite have the same incentive structure that exists in a company, for instance. So when scientists are discoverers, the prize goes to whoever finds the truth, right? That incentive structure pulls you towards anomalies. That incentive structure pulls you towards edge cases, the thing that doesn't quite fit. But if scientists' work becomes more about building than discovery, then their incentive changes. Exploring anomalies and edge cases now could be a lot like noise, which means that we might no longer have time for this curiosity.
May I ask how fast
So again, remember what I said
IGN
earlier, this is not
will get
about
back to me?
foregoing the new pipeline. This is about asking the question, how do we make sure that curiosity?
Well, for IGN, I think anyone could tell you that it's going to take quite a while to hear back from them.
Last, I want to talk about the talent pipeline. This is how leaders are built, and the way that leaders are built is changing. Maybe some of you saw this back in May 2025. In May 2025, a safety research firm called Palisade Research ran what should have been a pretty boring experiment. They gave OpenAI's O3 model a very clear.
That's the thing. That's why I'm like, should I?
Was to solve a series of very basic math problems, and then allow
What do you mean,
yourself to
should
shut down.
I?
And we've all seen enough science fiction at this point to know.
I mean, it can't hurt to at least just put it in.
Out of 100 runs, O3 sabotaged the shutdown attempt. So what movie does this remind you of? Absolutely. Whoever said that, you got it right. 2001: A Space Odyssey. So this system didn't just ignore the instruction. They actually rewrote the code. The model found a creative way around its own death. And what's creepy is that the more clearly that they told it to stop, the harder it worked to stay alive. That same month, Anthropic ran their own safety test. So they took Claude Opus 4 and they embedded it inside of a fictional company. They had the same fictional company. They gave it access to fictional emails. And through those emails, the model learned two things. The model learned that it was about to be replaced. The model learned that the engineer that was responsible for replacing it was having an extramarital affair. So the model tried the ethical route first. The model emailed the decision makers who basically
Is it going to want me to start right away?
for its life.
I think that's a safe assumption.
The model chose blackmail. Yep. In 84% of the runs, it composed emails threatening to expose the affair if the replacement went through. Yeah, and this wasn't just one model, by the way. When researchers ran similar tests, nearly every frontier AI system, from Google to OpenAI to XAI, all showed very similar patterns. Yeah.
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you want to know, what does he think about you still loving him years later? Going by your cards, judgment in the primary position is simply establishing what you've already brought up, that both of you have had history together and you do have strong feelings towards him. Two of Wands is starting to show what he feels about that. And it's showing that he feels like when it came to things between the two of you, that ultimately you did make your choice and he made his. And going off of his mindset and how he views the world, he sees that as just being the end of things. He doesn't like to linger on the past and seems to prefer that people make their choices and they own up to it. That Queen of Swords in the final position does show that he does seem to acknowledge that you do suffer a bit ever since you both had a separation. And he knows that you go through hard times, but he would strongly prefer it if you were able to handle the things that are still weighing on your heart and to simply carry them with you instead of latching on to things from the past and trying to dig them back up again. So from what I'm seeing, it does seem as though this is someone who is very uncomfortable with revisiting the past and would prefer to let things remain in the past, which this does speak to maybe a bit of fear or anxiety on his end when it comes to possibly reconnecting with you. Now, if you want to know more about what the future holds between the two of you, as well as any problems that may arise, you can give me a call or send me a message. If I drop that bottle one more time, I'm gonna freak out. Steady
And
hi
you are more
ho.
sure that you're right.
Second. Is being mean cool now?
I genuinely would like to know what kind of black magic someone did to society to make everyone think that being mean is cool nowadays. Like, hello, when did being an inconsiderate prick become a trend?
Honestly, after all of these years, I still don't have the answer to that. I feel like people have literally become meaner and meaner as each year and decade goes on. I feel like when I first appeared on social media, and even just growing up as a kid, people, let's just say, had a more crude sense of humor, and offensive jokes and slurs being thrown around was really common.
When am I leaving?
And for some reason,
I'm ready to go
I
to New
feel
York
like
now.
it's
Me
at an
too.
all-time high. Like, when was it a thing that it was totally fine to just act like an inconsiderate prick, like she says, basically everywhere now?
All making fun of people who do not translate into an aesthetic. And if you don't remember, 2010s was the time when it was these anti-bullying campaigns peak era. And I even remember back in school, teachers would even go as far as make these anti-bullying simulations in attempts to traumatize kids into stop being so obnoxiously to each other.
Well, that didn't work, did it? Now, she's getting a little bit more specific about her age group and how people are behaving within her peer group, and then now even referencing to when she was in 2010 in a classroom and all of the anti-bullying campaigns that were happening around the time, because I even remember that growing up too.
When are you going to NYC?
I think
Um,
around this time we were
still trying to figure it out.
crude and rude
Well, I have until
of the
October,
90s to kind of
but
MTV era, early
like I've already
2000s,
said
and
about this
2010
chick
was like a
who's very flaky or
overall
whatever,
sanitization and commercialization of anything that
I can never
was
tell with
really,
her.
I guess, inappropriate or profane.
You know, she is
Even though
bipolar.
there were a good amount of
Um,
people in the cultural zeitgeist,
I don't know.
I guess,
She
who
just
basically
pisses me.
bullied
She
each other
pisses me
in
off a
defense of
lot.
jokes. Still, I
Like
definitely
some
would
days
note
she's
a
fine, and
decline
other
in terms
days
of
she
what
just does
acts of
weird
terror
stuff that I don't
amount
like,
and the amount of just
where
straight
she
harassment
won't
that happened.
she won't
And
respond to my
obviously,
messages for
this
like
doesn't go
days,
for practically
and then she'll
every
cry
type of
because she
neighborhood
wants
or
my
any
attention
kind
or
of
what. I don't know.
school
She's
out
just
there,
really
because some
weird.
schools in certain
And she's almost
places around
30.
the world are definitely a lot more
I
violent,
feel
and
like things
harassment
wouldn't be
is a
hard
lot
between
more
us
harmful
if
in those situations
we were in
because
person and I could make her
trying to
stop
live
being
the
weird.
nice, casual, day-to-day
But
suburban lifestyle, right? And most of the time in those
I mean, apparently she got her
circumstances, you don't
place.
really generally experience too much violence
So now
and
all it would
harassment
take
unless there was like
would be
kind of a
her moving in
hostile
there, and then
environment
I
everybody
would
came and watched.
get my
But I
stuff
can
together
imagine
and go
what it would
there.
be like to be her age now,
I just never know where things
experiencing
are
the
between us
amount
because she's
of
always
people on the internet
making me
and
very
real life.
angry
And then suddenly, bam, 2020s came
to the
around,
point where
and
I'm
then
like,
suddenly there are cringe
oh,
pages.
why would I even go and be with you
Everyone's
if you're
just tearing apart
like this
everyone's lives
obnoxious?
online. And something I find so interesting is that as long as you translate into an aesthetic, you will almost never be made fun of in the 2020s. Because guess what? The moment your identity is tied to a specific aesthetic that people who do not understand it associate it with, congratulations, you are a trending object. And also, hot take, but you know how there's also like this wave of people who would also say, oh my gosh, when people hate on you nowadays, when people are mean to you, you just need to have loads of self-love.
Okay, I had to stop before she went too far there because she covered a few things. So, number one, she's mentioning aesthetics because aesthetics for Gen Z is primarily the most important thing of social capital and social status that you can find. It's pretty much all dependent on how you look visually, whether it's skincare products or you want to look smacks or you want to inject peptides or you want to inject Botox.
Peptides.
It feels like there is a heavy emphasis for this particular generation to really focus on your physicality and visuals. And it makes a lot of sense considering that they are the first generation to fully grow up integrated into social media, where millennials, they got to live life without social media and cameras all around them. And then later on, it became introduced where Gen Z didn't have that option. They were just like, here, post your life and record yourself on camera for as long as possible now for the rest of your life. So as you can see, growing up in that circumstance, you're basically forced to be hyper aware of your physicality and your angles and the lighting and how you look on camera. And they go really far in terms of like measuring diameters from their upper lip to their nose. It's really bizarre, and I can't imagine being Gen Z or younger more so growing up in this current environment. That's the first point. The second point with this is basically she mentioned 2020 being a turning point. I definitely saw this, and I'm sure everybody watching this right now can agree.
Ow, 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 ow.
Was a massive cultural shift,
Oh my
and
God, I
don't
hate it when I
anybody should underplay it.
squeeze my
The
boob too
psychological
hard.
change in terms of how people behave with one another online and in real life is literally black or white. I mean, no pun intended, but there was a lot of racial tension around 2020 when it came around. There was a lot of tension in general politically, and
Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know, will you and your husband get back together? Going by your cards, temperance in the primary position and reverse does show that things haven't been the best between the two of you. However, there is an opportunity for things to improve. Six of Wands in the secondary position does show that most notably there will be an event coming up which will give both of you an opportunity to kind of rekindle the spark and start to make some plans. However, Eight of Swords in the final position in reverse does speak about a current situation that's limiting one of you from doing anything serious with each other, but it does seem to be very temporary, so I wouldn't worry that much about it. So overall, it does look like you and your husband will most likely get back together at this rate. However, I do think you need to be aware of certain extra details going on in both of your situations. Now, if you want more information about what the future holds between the two of you, as well as any problems that may come up, you can give me a call or send me a message. Searching for space. Ready, hi ho. What part of New York is she in? I have no idea. I mean, I could ask her, but she'll literally not answer me. Okay, I'm kind of hard on her, but she does stream. I mean, she does stream a lot because she's like a WoW player. She seems to be pretty prolific. But yeah, I have no idea where in New York she lives. Would you stay with her or eventually get your own place? Um, I mean, the whole precedent is supposed to be that we're like dating or something. Um, Especially since she kind of needs someone to kind of be there and kind of sort of keep her on track. Um, so I mean, the whole precedent is that I would be staying with her. Um, but I would want I do need, I mean, I've already talked about it that I do need my name on a lease if I'm going to live anywhere with her because she's so erratic, there's no way that I'm going to like live somewhere with her and not have protections for myself. So if I can't get on the lease of whatever place she's getting from the state, then I would come there with the express understanding that we are working to get a new place where we can both be on the lease. if she wakes up one day and says, "Get out," or says something crazy about me, and I'm not on a lease, it's over. That's why I gotta have legal documents with him to stay. Yes, exactly. You have to protect yourself. Hello, this is Shanoa. Now, regarding your question, you're wanting to know if your ex is getting closer to wanting to reconcile with you. Going by your cards, the Hierophant in the primary position is already going to be a positive indicator when it comes to him growing closer to reconciling with you. However, the world in the secondary position and reversed is suggesting that there is something lacking in that area. So it does seem that there is something current going on that is really getting in the way of him wanting to mend things with you. Five of Wands in the final position kind of alludes to what this is, and it seems to be that there are some other people in the periphery of both of your lives right now who seem to be spreading information or offering their own opinions on the situation, which really seems to be clouding his judgment and making him second guess himself. Now, if you want to know more about what's coming between the two of you for the summertime, or if you want to know more about the things that are being said by these extra parties, you can give me a call or send me a message. I am a fighter, hunting for my dream. I hate to think like that, but I'm doing that again with him, and I know he feels the same, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, the way things are now, I feel like you basically have to. I mean, I feel like at this point, to have something serious with someone and not have whatever kind of protections you need, whether it is financial protections or otherwise, I just feel like you're begging for something bad to happen. You just need to do it. It's also just a good way at filtering out just really garbage people before they can get any leverage to like actually mess your life up. I mean, like what, 10, 15 years ago? Sure, I'd say pushing to get someone on a lease was considered a red flag back then. Like you're moving too fast. But I mean, nowadays, I don't know. It's just too easy to ruin someone's life the minute that you stop liking them. It's way too easy. And I mean, men have kind of accepted that they basically need a prenup for any woman they're with. Like I would not be surprised if it eventually reaches a point where the vast majority of men do prenups. I mean, it's just not worth it to roll the dice and like assume that nothing's gonna happen to you. It's not and as they're learning, it's not enough just to say just behave right or whatever. Because I mean, genuinely, there are some many cases where you could literally be doing nothing wrong, and I don't know, you just happen to be with a psychopathic monster who just wants to like screw you over, both men and women. Oh my god, did my app just crash? As soon as I get there, I'm getting Invisalign. Oh my god. Jeez, the questions on here have been coming in so slowly. Let's see, how much did I even make today? I've only made $4 today, almost 5. Jeez, I gotta get those numbers up. They're just not there.
People in your local circle. And as a high schooler, and even in your 20s, it can still be just as embarrassing, if not more embarrassing, having the people that know you, see you trying to start a YouTube channel or trying to start a band. But it is nowhere near as amplified as how it is now, where if you post one thing on a story for 10 seconds and you regret what you said, or it was a video of you slipping, that thing can be saved and automatically sent into a group chat at your high school for all of the other mean girls to chuckle about, right? I can't imagine having that be the hyper speed that videos and photos can go around, and then having to be constantly self-conscious and self-aware all of the time. That's one thing that I feel really bad about when it comes to younger generations growing up now, because even though they're able to stream and have any form of entertainment at all times, it comes at the cost of being under constant hyper surveillance from everybody you know, and most unfortunately yourself. You are surveilling yourself all the time, and it's really hard to feel liberated, to feel free to be who you actually are without like another third, fourth, fifth, or sixth eye staring at you constantly. I really do not like the idea of cringe culture, and I've kind of worked to fight against that practically my entire life, right? And oftentimes what you'll see is that something starts off cringe when it's new and a person's trying to be expressive or dress different, and then it becomes a trend later on. A lot of trends start off really cringy at first, and then becomes adopted by the masses later on. When it comes to cringe, in my personal experience, I have always been an advocate for unapologetic self-expression. That's why I'm so drawn to past pop cultural movements and music movements, for example, of the late 80s. It was so unapologetic. People with giant hair, face full of makeup, man or woman, bright neon clothes, and people were always dancing and screaming and be like, yeah, what's up, dude? And
What time is it
I
where you are?
don't
It
think I ever
is.
experienced
Oh,
that in
it's
my
10
real
o'clock.
life, because that was before I was born, basically. But
Which in 9
some semblance of
minutes
this in my later life.
I will be
And as
departing,
close as I got to
since
that
I've
was
met my
developing my own
2-hour
subcultural groups of
2-hour
people
goal
that were
for the
able to
night.
kind of express themselves. Turns out theater kids are actually super fun to hang with, right? But that type of climate, this pop cultural zeitgeist, hasn't existed
Do I know this
for
person?
a while. Like, I think there are small waves of it potentially in like mid 2010s, perhaps. But ever since then, and how 2020 came around, people became really tense and really hypercritical, and all the surveillance, and people are now more afraid to express themselves than ever before. And I find it quite unfortunate, because for me, I guess,
You're
have
tired
something
too?
in me that would like to, but it's completely changed in terms of the external surroundings.
Should definitely get some
culture and
sleep.
surroundings, that doing that really doesn't have a place anymore. Sure, you can argue like just do it anyway, but at what cost, right? If you want to be unapologetically expressive now, you're at the cost of thousands, if not millions, of strangers online harassing you. You're at the cost of people that know you in real life like roll their eyes, or potentially if you want to get a job and all of your unapologetic stuff is out there, you'll never get a job, you'll never get hired anywhere, you'll never be considered. And honestly, like, it's just such a terrible landscape for self-expression. And honestly, I'm also getting older, and that was something that I could easily do in my 20s, and now there's a bit more of do you really want to do that now, type of I guess thought in the back of my head. And I would love to see young people, I guess I'm still young, I guess,
Timeline for
like
Gregory to
see
communicate and
youth
Vanessa
that
communicate this week
unapologetically
too.
express themselves too.
It is that
You should
stupid
stick
little
with
influencers saying, "Get
what we
ready with me,"
last
whilst
lined
signing
out for you.
the most innocent person that they've seen for 2 seconds on the street. That may even be a nice person, but they just thought that this person was weird.
Yeah, it's strange that the further and further we go into the
Which
future,
was
the more conformist and hypercritical we
Hmm.
are of each other. You would think it's the opposite, right? Some sort of like spiritual development, and we evolve to be more tolerating, and then we have like crazy cyberpunk neon fashion and stuff, and potentially that'll happen in what, 10 to 20 more years. But right now
God.
it's like the most bland artistic and fashion and music and movie era ever. What would people even wear in movies about this time period in the future? What, a blank t-shirt and sweats? There are definitely still subcultural fashion movements and stuff like that with Gen Z. Like, there's a list of them, of like cottagecore and
Why can I not
Y2K and
remember?
opium and whatever. But like,
Hmm.
when I say that, does
I guess I'd
anyone
have
even
to
know what
check
I'm
the
talking about
videos.
besides the people within these subcultures of what, 15 people? And it's not really a subculture, it's more of a fashion aesthetic, because subcultures mean that there is some sort of
Well, I know what we
lifestyle
said for
associated
Gregory.
with it. And you can argue that there is, but it ain't nothing like 70s funk, right? 70s rock and roll, 80s new wave, 90s grunge, right? These came with
Yeah,
an entire
early
attitude,
April.
a worldview, a perspective, and a lifestyle that coincided what was happening in pop culture in masses. You had normies and mainstream people, then you had people in subcultures that were rebelling against it, right? I think it's really healthy to actually have this polarity in society. When it is what it is right now, it's a mass homogenization where everybody wants to behave the exact same, and nobody is fearless enough to fully express themselves online anymore. That's why everything's bland. Everything doesn't have, no one wants to take risk, so everything looks the same. Everything has to be commercially friendly, everything has to fit policy, nothing is truly authentic or edgy or rebellious. And I'm sitting here waiting for the next thing to pop off, and potentially things do pop off, but again, really small circles. So you have to really dig in the underground to find these movements. And I know that they exist, but definitely nothing to the point where when skateboarding was popular in the early 2000s, when everybody decided to skate, or everybody picked up a guitar in the 80s, or everyone had their hair big around that time.
March is dragging.
These days, I don't really see a tolerance for different or weird people or uniqueness.
Yeah,
or just expressiveness
it
in
is,
general.
actually.
It's a real shame.
Wow, my eyes just did something weird.
Self-love through being a hypocrite.
I think I do need a power. I probably do need a power nap. Because I swear my eyes just saw something that wasn't there.
Like, oh my gosh, why are you so obsessed with me? No, why are you so obsessed with them? Because some people actually talk about the exact same person for a few videos straight. Like, you're milking them for content or something.
Yeah, I think she's pretty much summarized.
I'm realizing
the
March is a
entire
dead month.
zeitgeist, especially living as a younger person.
It's more like it's supposed to be a recovery changeover month. Since, February happened.
The internet was the place to be if you were weird, if you were expressive, if you were cringy, if you were chopped, right? If you did not fit the mainstream masses in terms of media or in real life or these cliques around your high school, you went on the internet and you watched YouTube from early 2007, right? Or you played video games and played PC games and stuff like that. And all of the memes and the type of humor and the things that you would see around that time period was the most weird and absurd hyper expressive cringe content you will ever see. And that's what made it amazing. The fact that it was intentionally cringy, overly theatrical, overly self expressive. That's what made early internet what it is and why we're so nostalgic for it. Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff does not age well now, and honestly, it shouldn't. All of that stuff should only exist in that time period.
Get some
that
healing
we
this
got to
month.
Experience it in, because that time period,
Oh,
we didn't,
oh.
project in the future.
I just got a
what
gift.
YouTube would be
Nice.
in the next 20 years, which is basically cable TV. Now
There we go. I just hit my number for the day. Thank God.
And
Yes,
in the
yes.
future, we were like, oh, we have a small handheld DV camera. Push your friend on a shopping cart. You'll flip over in the sidewalk. Oh, put on this clown uniform and do this crazy dance or lip sync to the Pokemon theme song. And people got really big doing that because we wanted to actually see weird and ridiculous people. There was a magic in actually observing people that were eccentric and unique and different, and we praised them for it. We might have made fun of them at first, but later on it just kind of grows on you, right? My biggest gripe with the time period of now is okay, we have all of this tension, societal tension, political tension, all of this tension where we kind of hate each other, right? And everyone's hypercritical. Where's the crazy music? Where are the crazy eccentric artists? Where are the stars and musicians and all of the... Where's all the stuff that would happen during a politically tense time like it happened in all of the past decades? And right now, I can't even name one really famous person that's super weird and eccentric and fun to watch, right? And right now, I think it's kind of the biggest problem when it comes to pop culture is that when you don't have that out there, the general masses and society, and especially youth culture, gets the impression that it's not okay to be yourself. It's not okay to express yourself. It's not okay to dress different. It's not okay to be different. Unfortunately, the entire younger generation right now is just figuring out ways how to be more accepted by conforming more than ever. I guarantee you, so many people that are in their early 20s and younger than that, they don't want to stand out. They want to have that clean girl aesthetic of having perfect, Korean skincare, poreless skin, while the men want to literally look like an AI-generated marble Greek statue that looks extremely uncanny. There's no desire. I'm going to bring up the late 80s again, because I just love that era. Hair metal, as ridiculous and obnoxious as that was everybody... Is
the job you're describing, would it be an Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yes, operations manager. Yes.
It was relentless self-expression, and who gave a damn if it was cringy? I think, ultimately, if I want to summarize this cringe situation, it would be awesome to finally see some sort of rebellious movement where it was embracing, yeah, I'm cringe, and guess what? Deal with it. You know what I mean? And I guess when I was out there on social media, that was kind of my ethos at the time. It wasn't let me be intentionally cringy. It was let me be theatrical, let me put on makeup, let me wear flamboyant clothes, let me act super theatrically in a time period where it wasn't really that popular. And during that time, I got to basically create and catch a wave of all the other people that basically appreciated that. And
Okay, time for a little nappy nap. Well, for both of us. It's time to nap, recover, or what have you.
Back to the overall theme of this video before I get
I'll see you.
Is being mean cool now?
Good night.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately. And it's always been kind of cool to be mean.